Hi everyone, welcome back. I'm Michael Sandler, your host on Inspire Nation. And if you've ever felt there's more to your health than meets the eye, then do we have the Ayurveda Lifestyle Wisdom show for you. Today I'll be talking with Acharya Shunya, founder of Vedika Globa, president of the California Association of Ayurvedic Medicine, and the author of an incredible new book I'd recommend to everyone, Ayurveda Lifestyle Wisdom. And that's just what I want to talk with her about today, about a complete prescription to optimize your health, prevent disease, and live with vitality and joy. That, plus we'll talk about River Sarayu, the importance of a neem chew stick, jasmine in early mornings, who were a Bura, Kalu, Lali, Muna, and Chotu. Why forgetting of the way is necessary to truly find the way, and why in the world you don't want to disturb the grass people. Gotcha. So, welcome to the show, Shunya. Are you ready to shine?
I am.
Well, a mighty woohoo! And thank you so much for joining us on the show. Before we dive right into things, would you mind sharing with us about your grandfather and teacher Baba Ayodhya Nath?
Baba Ayodhya Nath was a grandfather to many children, including me. But he was very special because I found out, Michael, that he was a person with a very special heart. And people and animals and birds and squirrels, they all came to him, including a mama monkey with an injured baby, so that he could heal them. And he would heal them with love or with very simple remedies that grew next to the pond or the tree in the backyard. And he knew this beautiful science of Ayurveda, which is really living in synchronicity with nature. And so often he would look at people and give them some one wise recommendation of a lifestyle more than a medicine, and beautiful things would happen. And I think in spite of having many cousins who all looked up to him as a wise, benign grandfather, he became my guru because I loved that part of him. And from a very young age, Michael, I was moved by suffering. Mm-hmm. So when I saw people who were suffering and their eyes would lit up in Baba's presence, I wanted to have that same knowledge. And I was very fortunate that he inspired me with it. And then I shared it with the whole world in this book.
Woohoo!
It is a yoo-hoo moment.
Am I right in understanding you used to climb in the Bodhi tree?
I did. We had one, and it was beautiful. We also considered it very sacred, and my mother and grandmother and aunts would worship it every day. We Hindus see God everywhere, so the Bodhi tree was very special. But then that was also a place I could climb, and I could spend hours there.
It seems to be a theme, and when you think of Ayurveda, I hadn't, forgive me, until this time, realized such the incredible, strong connection between Ayurveda and nature.
You know, Michael, I'm surprised, and it's not to, or maybe I haven't discovered many books that really want to go beyond, like, here's what you can do, here are the doshas, here is a quiz. So they're very informational, they're very practical. But I just couldn't do that piece because I am like you. I fall into the art, philosophy, the bubble of nature, the sounds and whispers of the trees. And really, if you go into our textual tradition also, it's all of what I've written. So I haven't written anything original, but I think I have taken the time to kind of weave a bigger story, a bigger fabric of culture and ecology and nature and divinity that surrounds Ayurveda. So I'm glad you picked on that, because this may well be that one book of a kind that interweaves those themes, which are important, I believe.
Well, to me, it all starts with your teachings down by the river, and picturing this river coming out of glacial waters and glowing blue and the stones, and that is where your teaching took place, I believe.
Yeah. Every morning, we were talking earlier about how you love the 4 to 6 a.m. You wake up and you're so inspired by all, by the all. In the same way, my grandfather woke me up and we would walk together to the river and we would sit by it. This river comes from the Himalayas and flows through our little town. And we would sit by it and he would teach me breathing exercises, Om chanting. He would talk to me about different things and they became like signatures in my heart and being. And I think I'm almost 50 and I'm still remembering the depth of those short conversations. Like they were packed with wisdom. I think that's what happens when we connect with a very expanded consciousness. And because I was a child, I didn't have any resistances, Michael, any unworthiness or any question marks around how overwhelmed I am. And is this too big a concept for me it's like in India, in the ancient sacred knowledge always began at a young age because they never thought that the being is young. The soul is ageless, just the body and mind may be kind of raw. So he would talk to me like an adult, sharing with me the wisdom of this whole universe. And I would like,
I love it. So from there, and we're gonna dive back probably into some more stories and teachings from Baba. He would say that we all have an abidingly healthy nature. What is that?
Well, he has a beautiful sounding Sanskrit word for it. I'd like to enunciate it.
Please.
It says arogyam and aham arogyam, which means I am forever healthy. So my body, which is something, I'm spirit, I have a body, I have a mind. My body can get diseased, decayed, or distressed, and my mind can get a little challenged or, full of resistances. But that's my equipment. I am spirit. And my basic nature is inherently healthy and joyful. And that means arogyam. So Baba always said that whenever we reclaim health, we may think we're, drinking this tea or taking that herb. But true health only resides from within. So it gets evoked from within. So really the externals are secondary. But what is primary is what is within. And that was special. Even today, I told you, I've just traveled and I've come back after a very, I went to India and I'm just back. It's a very long trip. And I felt this sneezing coming on and then I just meditated upon it. And I said, now, wait a minute. We're not going to be sneezing because we have to talk to Michael. I'm not sneezing, honestly.
Thank you.
And there is some hot water to help me, which I write about because it enkindles our digestion and metabolism. And I sniffed on some eucalyptus oil because I had some dry leaves and I, just did this with them to get the natural oil out. And I'm good to go. So what did I evoke from within is health. And that is the reclaiming.
Beautiful. And it's such a, and I have behind us here, I have my hot water that I was drinking with some ginger in it as well.
Oh, yummy.
So what's interesting about this, and we should dive into Ayurveda and what is Ayurveda, but is that this model for health that you're describing is one of balance and harmony rather than a prescriptive one of going after one particular thing or cause or treatment.
Very true. And probably I'm not the one saying it. This is the way it was originally meant to be, Michael. It was life wisdom. And it was evoking a life from within and really then, flowing it outwards. But right now, Ayurveda has become more prescriptive, more boxed, as everything does. People just want like a tiny prescription to walk out with. So I wanted to write a book that invites that flow. So you got it. You exactly touched it.
Well, I love it. And it's a Bible and it's worth, you're not just going to get, there is the prescriptive element, and we'll talk a little bit about some of the doshas and stuff like that, but it's really a life system of balance, and I think if you get that, it's much more than I need to get something pungent over here or do something over there, because it can, if you get that, it helps you find the correct answer without even having the answer.
Yeah, you're right. If somebody's reading it, they would really enjoy the prescriptions because the prescription won't feel just like a list. It would feel like it's a very intelligent list. because you have the other knowledge that has already intuitively transferred into you. So you'll be making correct decisions, like you're drinking, water with ginger, and I'm, drinking hot water with some eucalyptus drops. So we're intuitively connected with the list. And then the prescriptive part of the book is just like logistics. It just helps to have things organized. And I like organizing things. So I've made the book, I think it represents me. There's a lot of flow and beauty and even poetry. And then there are these nice little lists and bullet points, which I like.
Very nice. And I think the organization is important. So let's go to the very basics, because some people listening today don't know much about Ayurveda. And like I said, I've been exposed to it somewhat for many years, but my level is not very deep. This was extremely helpful for me, and I'm going to be diving deeper into the words here as we go along, because it intuitively makes so much sense. What is, or how would you define Ayurveda?
Ayurveda is coming from two Sanskrit words, a very ancient language, about 10,000 years old. And it comes from two words, Ayush and Veda. Ayusha means life, and Veda means the knowledge of. So it's the knowledge of life, how to live it in such a way that it fulfills us and we are able to meet our life purpose. So it's not just a prescription on disease. It's not just a category of symptoms, and here's a cluster of symptoms, here's how you deal with it. It really talks about life. So interestingly, Ayurveda even talks about how a man or a woman can transition through their various stages, from infancy to childhood to puberty to adulthood to old age, and then transition into death. What are the proactive behaviors that we can embody, and how can we have a lifestyle of practices from morning to night, time permitting, we can include them into our lifestyle so that all those transitions become smooth and health reclaiming and not disease causing. And even if you have disease, probably that disease will dissolve and become very manageable or, disappear. So that's it.
Thank you. On that note, don't need to dive too much into the doshas, but it's been interesting. This is a daily show, and so there's a new guest and a new book pretty much every single day. We're like 510 episodes in of back to back to back to back to back.
Wow.
And so it's really important to watch our health, or if you come off the rails, there's no catching back up. And I watched my health doing some funny things over the last month, and my stomach doing some funny things, and usually an immune system that is just off the charts good doing funny things. And it wasn't until the day before diving into your book that I realized that I don't know if it was coming out of a meditation or what. All of a sudden I said, fire. And I realized that my doshas, I have a vata constitution, were off. And I don't even know how it snuck up on me. And I can see where. But maybe you can dive real briefly into the doshas and what it means to be in or out of balance.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, for our listeners who are first time coming across the word doshas, think of it as energy. Just like in Chinese medicine, which is a cousin science, let's just they call it qi. We have the word doshas, but really simply, doshas are like invisible housekeepers within our being. And they come alive in a living body, and then they are not alive in a dead body, but they do different functions. And ideally, if they work together, we have health. But when they work opposite to each other or not in synchronicity, we have ill health or symptoms. And we have three types of house speakers with very interesting personalities. So we have the dosha called Mr. Vata or Vata dosha. And Vata dosha is a hyperactive, super alert, super intelligent, sensitive, and speeded up housekeeper. So it makes sure that all our limbs are moving, our speech is moving fast, and even our thoughts and are moving and connecting at rapid fire speed. I mean, to do the shows you do every day and read the books and connect with so many diverse personalities. Thank God you have Vata dosha as an active dosha, because from a positive aspect, it's really helping you. But when it becomes too much or disturbed, it can cause gas, it can cause, pain in our limbs, it can cause us to have our thoughts moving too fast. We can have insomnia, we can have the blinking of the eyes for involuntary reasons, we can have heartbeat go up. The other housekeeper is Pitta dosha. Now, Pitta dosha is like this serious, intense, fiery dosha. And Pitta dosha likes to burn food, metabolize it, transform thoughts, cook our concepts, and, transmutate everything in our life, in our body, in matter and thought. Pitta dosha makes us sharp, it makes us able to digest food, it makes us able to be intellectual and problem solve. And my thoughts are that you might have another second dosha as the
It's
Pitta.
exactly it. That is exactly
But
what it
if
is.
that gets aggravated, then you can have too much burning, acid reflux, burning sensation, hotness in different parts of the body, irritability, and imagine if you had a thermostat that was too much within your being, you can get exhausted quickly. Like you just like me. Oh, 6 o'clock, I'm ready to go to bed because you've burned out, literally. The third dosha is kapha dosha, and kapha, K-A-P-H-A, is like a stodgy, solid, anchored dosha. It gives us strength, it gives us immunity, it gives us the necessary inertia, it gives us stodginess, bulkiness, structure. But in excess, it can give us obesity, lethargy, sleepiness, drowsiness, even depression. When healthy, it can give us strength and muscles. And a new baby born with kapha dominance will look like, where did you eat from? Looks so well, developed. Whereas the pitta baby may look red and a little bit like, where's my mom? I don't like nurse. And the Vata dosha kid might be just like already ready to walk to the next baby and say, hey, I'm so and so, very personable, very. So these three doshas, they work together. I've tried to keep it light and simple, but the fact of the matter is that when they get aggravated, they will give us symptoms. And fortunately, if we know the Ayurveda lifestyle, then rather than going to an Ayurvedic doctor, we can just use our kitchen spices, or we can use some yoga, or we can just drink some hot water for Vata and Kapha, and hot but cool water for Pitta dosha, and we'll do good. Sometimes Vata dosha, which is a very moving dosha, as in your case, can kind of cahoots with Pitta dosha and create more problems, or it can join Kapha dosha and create more sneezing and a lot of movement around phlegm. So Vata dosha has to be kept in arrest more often than not.
So for myself, I know that what's been going on now, I don't know how I didn't catch this, which is my wife was going, I feel like the need for a little bit of a cleaner diet. She has a very clean diet, but she goes, I think I want to have some smoothies again, some green smoothies. And I started having green smoothies first thing in the morning with her. And I basically put out my Agni, my fire. I basically knocked it out for the day. And then I was adding some cool insult to injury on top of it. Plus, I didn't even know about frozen foods. That one didn't occur to me till I was reading in your book. And basically, I snuffed out my flame. And so I watched myself going from really strong and vibrant last month to starting to be achy in the gym and not recovering, to all of a sudden getting a pink eye. I don't get sick with anything. And then a stomach that wasn't digesting. And you have a whole chapter in the book about the importance of elimination. And I'm going, well, this is not right. My belly is starting to distend on me. It didn't occur to me. So is that I've snuffed my flame, basically my Agni, and I guess we need to share with the listeners what that is. But is that a Vata in cahoots with my Pitta side, or is that just I let my Vata get out of control?
I think you let your Vata get out of control, and Agni is your digestive fire, which is very sensitive to the doshas getting out of control. So with all that frozen and cold and raw intake, Vata dosha got very high, and imagine a flame and a wind is blowing, it's just going to collapse. And then every extra morsel of food was really a compromise to your Agni or your digestive fire. Fortunately, who writes a whole chapter on digestion and elimination with all this practical insight? But that's what I do day in and day out. I have this case study you might have read of Beverly, who had 30 years of stomach pain. And within a month of working with the Ayurveda information that I've shared, which you're going to now dive into, she had, what did she say? 70% relief. So within just 1 month. So these principles, Michael, they're not just principles made up by a couple of people. I mean, they've been tried and tested for 5,000 years. And in my own life, I mean, I have been trying this on, I mean, who comes to Ayurveda? People who've given up on Western medicine, people who are really sick and dying, the terminally sick, and they come to Ayurveda, an alternative, lesser known medicine, and they go, oh my God, this helps. So these principles, Vata, Pitta, Kapha, though I spoke in great humor, are really scientific. And they deal with the nanoparticles that we cannot see, but it's invisible matter. You know, your body creates a visible matter, as in our body, but then the invisible matter become these housekeeping forces. Very simple for you. This hot water with ginger, you already sorted it yourself out. Every food cooked. After a month or so, your Agni will pick up. And I don't have a problem with smoothies or raw foods, but just once you know your dosha, you can take less of it or more in the daytime when the sun is out, so you can borrow some heat from there. You're good to go. So it's such this basic learning that kind of sets us free, I think.
Thank you. And we're gonna. I want to kind of follow the flow of the book, but since we're on this topic, I'm going to keep pulling the strings of the sweater. First off, one of the things I was reading about is to incorporate some ghee or a little bit of oil in your food, particularly for that Vata nature. And the question comes up, which is, I'm a vegan. And I can be a little bit flexible if I have to. I just love cows so much I don't want to put them to work. Do I have to go with ghee, or can you use coconut oil, or what are your feelings?
The second best oil for, and I have written that as you go deeper into the book, might be sesame oil, which is a great oil. And unfortunately, the cows were very beloved in India in a traditional sense. They were actually so beloved, they were worshipped. But now the cows are mistreated, so I totally hear you. And these are questions that we have to revisit. Well, I own a cow, so I know that I can eat
and
my
we've
ghee.
talked about that.
But we can't, recommend it to everybody. But yeah, if you're a vegan, you can go for small amounts of sesame oil. That's what I would suggest. Coconut oil is
Too
great,
cooling.
but it's a little heavier. These things I have discussed in the book. So once your Agni is back, coconut oil would be great for you. But until you are challenged, small amounts of sautéing in sesame would be great. All of Asia uses it, and you can see how remarkable their bodies are and health are and complexions are. So it's a good oil.
Fantastic. So let's go from there, and let's go back to the early morning, the sacred time, and that is called, if I get this right, Brahma Muhurta.
Perfect. Beautiful.
So what can you share with us about that?
So in this cosmic revolution of time, ancient beings called rishis or sages found out that 4 to 6 a.m. or 3 hours before sunrise, but definitely 4 to 6 a.m., we can be safe on that, is like a remarkably profound time when our micro consciousness is inherently connected with a macro cosmic consciousness, provided we are awake. To connect with it, either through meditation or walking or gazing at nature or simply being still or even doing some automatic writing or creative journaling or in our worship rituals which connect us with all beings. And Brahma Muhurta has many people who have intuitive and spiritual insights will find that when they wake up at 4 to 6 a.m., they have maximum creativity. In fact, I came across a blog, I don't know where, Michael, but I'd love to share it with you.
Sure.
Because I've saved it. It talked about how many great authors in the last 200 years have woken up in the early morning to write because they vowed by it as the most creative time. And this included some of the most important names of, our, beloved literature that we know of, Western literature. So I was like, yes, that makes sense. The Vedas, the great sacred literature, was written in the morning. So this time when we wake up, all our doshas start balancing at the right time. Agni flares up automatically, bowels move out, so we are pure, and then with a very clear mind, we can go forward in our day. So that's a very special day, and all my learning happened at that time in the morning.
What's the significance of jasmine and that time in the morning growing up?
Oh, jasmine is not just a fragrant flower, but jasmine is a beautiful medicinal flower. It's actually, if you drink jasmine tea, it's highly pitta balancing and blood purifying, by the way. So I'm very appreciative of the Chinese culture that drinks the jasmine tea. But the jasmine flowers, because they are white, because they are beautiful, whiteness or these light colors, they represent a quality in the mind called sattva, which is purity, versus very shiny, bright colors that, can remind you of discotheques and, strobes and all of that. They bring up a quality called rajas, which is agitated mind. And then we have very dark colors as our whole culture's fascination with the black color and really dark colors. And that kind of brings soberness, but also tamas, which is a quality of dullness, sadness, sobriety. So everything is appropriate at the right time, but the jasmine flowers in the morning, when they are strung together in garlands and worn, or offered to our sacred space, or, just smelled, they evoke all kinds of beautiful spiritual resolutions. We don't have to work hard to be spiritual. We become that. We feel it. We emanate it.
Thank you, thank you. On that note, I want to pull another string of the sweater here. I'm looking at you, and you have a beautiful, I can't tell if we'd call that orange or peach, but it's a very soothing color that you have, vibrant and soothing color. And I'm in one of my favorite, kind of a turquoise blue, very, very soothing and yet brilliant as well. I hadn't planned on going here, but what's the power of color?
Huge. Nature talks to us in colors. Through her different season colors, she is actually playing with our minds, and she is, doing things to us. We're very conditioned. And this is the saffron color. This is the color favored by the Vedic rishis, because this color is like the early sunshine, early rising sun, when you can actually see it, and because then it becomes too vibrant. So in the Brahma Muhurta, or 4 to 6 a.m., if you get to witness the sunrise and you actually witness it rising from, the horizon all the way, and you sit there, you just sit like that and you go, yeah. Some sun rises within. There's a rise of consciousness within. So we Vedic teachers love to wear this color. But even the color you're wearing, honestly, it's the color of the open sky. So this is exactly, the colors are big in Ayurveda, colors, textures, smells, the 5 senses and how they consume the universe. Well, we want to create a designer menu for you, if I may say so, and we don't have to think it. I didn't create it. My grandfather didn't create it. Centuries and centuries of masters have brought this forward, and I have students, in my organization, Vedika Global, and patients in all our charitable clinics. They're all benefiting from it because it works. These colors make a difference.
Thank you. From there, can you tell us, your mom used to repeat a mantra with you when you were a baby in her lap about thanking Mother Earth.
Oh. So it's a long, complicated mantra, but I would definitely say that we call Earth Prithvi. So it's Prithvi Ma, and we say Namastubhyam, we offer our, and we call her Vishnu Patni. We call her as the consort of the divine reality. Like she's the mother, and the divine nameless, formless is known as Vishnu. And we say that the mountains and the mountains are like your breasts. And the mountains are like your breasts, and the river is like your milk, and we are bowing to you. And as we stand on you, we ask for kshama, or we ask you forgiveness, that may we step on you, Mother. And what that does is that from the first moment when we would step down from the bed and step on her, on Mother Earth, we're no longer just these selfish human beings who are consumed with buying and shopping and possessing and, complaining and power mongering. But instead we're like, there is a beautiful earth mother who is holding us. So we go, Prithvi Devi Namastabhyam, and we worship her and we thank her, and we have all those details in the book. But I wanted to talk more about its meaning to connect to, our listeners right now. So I do that. And, my ego takes a little downsizing when I ask her permission to even step on her. So much of my delusions of conquering earth and being this ultimate person, I'm like, wow, I get to walk on this beautiful earth. There's a greater powers that are holding me, the earth, the moon, the sun. And then I get up and I go, first thing I do is drink hot water to kind of, reduce vata. And then I move towards the window, and 4 to 6, of course, after purifying myself and, going to the bathroom. And then I just look at the sun, or I know it's there, though I can't see it. And I go, I can see that early light, and we're good.
Woohoo!
Woohoo!
So from there, let's talk, and thank you so much. And I'm positioned here where I can catch.
I have a question for you.
Go for it.
I love your woohoos. And what is the? Is this like a heart expression of
Absolutely.
celebration?
It's heart expansive. It's celebration. It is. There's a bottling up of energy as you're sharing something that's very powerful and positive, and just. I've had 2 near-death experiences in my life. And every moment is so incredibly precious. And everything is, I'm looking outside, there's a gentle snow falling. And I'm like a kid looking at all this stuff. And a kid in a candy store. And I get to speak with you across the country, and we're talking about wisdom of 10,000 years old. It's such an incredible thing. And I'm like, and this can change lives. And if you listen just to this one thing that she's saying, woohoo! And
love it. Just love it. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
You share your presence through your podcast. It's not just words. So I really see that. Thank you.
Thank you. So from there, this will be an interesting segue. Let's talk about elimination for a brief minute.
Yep.
What can you tell us? There's a whole chapter on it. Maybe we should know the importance of early morning and healthy, and then toxins. I know that's a lot in one or 2 questions there.
Yeah, I mean, I wrote 60 pages on it. It's a big book, but it's not just about elimination. It's really about life, how to lead your life in a 24-hour period so that you can eat, digest, enjoy yourself, but then you are also regularly purging in a natural, normal way without any drama or hold up, like all beings do, all animals do. And then you're ready to live and have a woohoo moment. Otherwise, you get plugged, and then those toxins, they destroy us. And then the food we eat, it's actually eating us. So if I was going to teach a lifestyle, it was not just enough to say do this and do that. It was really important to not only take care of the input, but the output too. So the toxins are a very important part of Ayurveda. And we don't just give toxin removing tea or toxin removing really expensive, treatment protocol. I would just want people to live a life, and a life, it's such a style that to go happily and healthily is a normal thing to do. And I've had people we've worked with people with chronic IBS. I have a story of a person with ulcerative colitis who got healed within few months, and she's now a teacher of Ayurveda. She was on 18 drugs, 18 pills when she came to see me.
And she was young too, wasn't she?
She was young too, and the daughter of a physician who was deeply touched that Ayurveda could help him, his daughter. And, so she's like an open ambassador of it. So I've had countless people with chronic things, and they're told that they just have to they have to be dependent on, laxatives or other things or antidiarrheal things. And I'm like, no, something is not right here. I mean, to eat is our God-given birthright, and to go is our God-given birthright. That's why, Michael, I'm a teacher who has a following. I have students to whom I am their spiritual guru, and I teach self-realization. And then, boom, I can talk about elimination. Because for Baba, my guru, he told me that I am body, mind, and soul. So I don't turn up my nose against, body stuff. But we're not going to talk about that. I'm like, yeah, if you want to be self-realized and self-actualized, well, let's just make sure that you're also going, because let's take care of your biological functions.
What are one or two ways to help us to get going? I know we have to talk a lot about the doshas and dive into the book, everybody, to find out more about balancing that. But what are one or two good rules of thumb that can help us to be going more regularly?
Well, one thing for sure is to drink hot water first thing in the morning, and to drink like almost a big cup of it, no more than that. And to rise early. If you rise before 6 a.m., Ayurveda sages promise us that very soon your energy clock will automatically, the downward moving energy will start getting activated. And sleeping any later than 6 actually holds it back. So if you've been chronically, challenged in elimination, well, better work on your sleep and wake cycle, and that should take care of it. Another really important one is to not eat after maybe sunset, and really give all those hours for the body to digest and line up your bowel movement for a good movement. And finally, if need be, you can drink a hot beverage like cow milk, or even if need be rice milk, but something hot with probably something like raisins added to it. And raisins eaten as a snack can also help, because raisins are a natural laxative. So that would help.
Is it okay to mix raisins? Let's say you have some oatmeal, and to have raisins and ghee, because we don't want to do fruit and cold dairy, or cold fruit and dairy.
Yes. Thank you for bringing that up. Everything, if you're constipated, then cold is not your best friend. It might be an occasional thing you do, but it should not be your routine. Warmth will keep your agni flame, and you're burning, you're digesting. And the good part is that once your bowels start clearing up, you'll notice an improvement in your vitality, your energy, your complexion will clear up, toxins will reduce, your breath will be fresh. You don't even know how much better you'll feel. So elimination, Michael, for me as a teacher, as an author, as a doctor, as a healer, and as a life guide, is not just a matter of checking on your list, but it's almost like purifying the way you live, your whole standard of life. It's important.
Thank you. From there, you brought up something that another place I hadn't planned on going today, but it's so important, and I have thought about this for years from an Ayurvedic point of view, which is, to use a Western expression, we often rob Peter to pay Paul late at night, which is when our flame cranks back up, instead of going to sleep, that's when we go grab the computer, grab our phone, grab the TV, and we're kind of stealing our health away from ourselves.
Oh, I love reminding me of these really important points. You're reading the book really well. There is this whole diurnal rhythm that the sages mapped for us. And the first thing we have to do is, and I talk about it in chapter 1 itself, is like how to live according to that map. So this pitta time, or this fiery housekeeper, not only emerges within our being, but if you look at the macro body of the universe, which is also a body, it's also undergoing changes in the doshas in the 24-hour cycle. And 2 times in the 24-hour cycle, the whole universe gets steeped in pitta, or fiery energy. That's 10 to 2 in the morning and then 10 to 2 at night. When 10 o'clock comes in the morning, if you've missed breakfast, then get out of the way because that person can eat anything, you know. And also, we'll all notice that come 10 o'clock, we all feel pretty focused. You know, if we've been kind of, yeah, I don't know, maybe I should just, move to Switzerland and spend the rest of my life there. Come 10 o'clock, we're paying bills, responding to emails, getting focused. And around 12 to 1, we also feel really hungry. So 10 to 2 is a very strong, intense, get things done, eat food, digest it, solve your problem time. Now at nighttime too, that energy comes up. So Ayurveda gives us a little secret and it says, look, the morning time is for you to be out in the world and to solve things in the outer world and digest your food. But at nighttime, if you go to bed, then that same energy will clean you up from inside while you are sleeping. So it will detoxify your cells. It will detoxify your blood. It will calm your mind. But instead, what we do is we get the second wind, like you said, and we're like sorting out our drawer, color coding our wardrobe, turning all our hangers in one direction. We're writing the email we should not have written. So that's what then brings up inflammation, heat, irritability, and, just too much. So the way I do this, Michael, I'll share with you is from 9 o'clock, come 9 p.m., I start watching the clock. And I have some fire in me too, in case you guessed it. I have fire and water and, so I have enough fire. And I want to save the world around 9 p.m. And I'm like, okay, don't take this seriously. This is just, forthcoming fire. And even my husband, he starts reminding me, it's 9:30 now, honey. It's 9:45 now, because now I start moving towards my bedroom. And then I have this whole chapter on how to sleep. So then I'll dim the lights. I'll apply oil on my feet and my ears. I have a little oil warmer, like a baby oil warmer. And just tiny bit here, just a few drops. Then I sleep. Because I want that pitta to work inside me. And I just want to share this, that my sister-in-law is a medical doctor, and recently I visited her and she said, hey, I don't know, you Ayurveda types, I think I should get a blood profile done on you. And she didn't find anything. And,
wow.
I was like, okay, my pitta is cleaning me up. And I eat and I have a good time and a good life. But these little rules that the ancient scientists knew, we can live by them. I have in my clinic cholesterol's dropping, weights reducing, skin clearing up, the brain being less overwhelmed, epilepsy attacks reducing because we're sleeping on time, waking up on time, pooping on time. Michael, are we just simple beings? We just need to be in nature and, just do our activities.
I talk about the birds, which are usually chirping out the window. They're laying low for the snow right now. But you never hear a bird up at 10 p.m. that's confused. And there's a reason for it.
Yeah. It did not, there is thankfully no bird that invented a bulb and then the internet and then said, yay, because all those beautiful inventions, and I bow to all the inventors, but we've really created an artificial bubble. And I'm not asking us to go primitive, because I love my Mac and I love my whatever things I do. I'm a very much a 21st century guru, but at the same time, I have my boundaries.
Do you
and
know?
Come 10 p.m., it's me and my sleep.
Do you know of the software or the app called Flux?
No.
Oh God, I love Flux. It's free. You get it on Mac or PC. So I'm like a Flux advertisement right now. And you turn that on, and what it does is you put in your time of day, or what time zone you are, or something like that. And what it'll do is, as soon as the sun starts to set, it starts to take the blue light out of your screen. So it becomes more yellow and more amber until it's removed all of the blue light. So even if you're on the computer, you're not getting stimulated by that artificial fire that's coming at you. And it's interesting because fire itself is a reddish orange light. That doesn't keep us up at night. It's the white artificial light that you get filtered through the blue sky. It pulls it out so that I'll dim my lights in my studio, in my work area. I'll have the computer dimmed to that yellow. And then my eyes, even though it's a daily show, I've got to do work and I still have to do that. The lights are all coming down, helping me so that I'm not stimulated, so I can do a short sleep routine and go straight to bed.
I think that's a great idea because, these are exactly the kinds of lifestyle interventions that we need to think about.
Mm-hmm.
We can't just be leading our life based on the next new adventure of technology. And we do need to do exactly what you said, like, hey, I have to do some work, but then can I dim the lights? And then now after reading my book, you might think, and now can I oil my outer ear before I go to bed? Or maybe, just a tiny drop of oil on my feet, because that's going to help calm all the, the energy meridians, which Ayurveda also talks about. And the whole vata would calm down so that the next morning you can do even a better show. So there are these additions that we can do to our life. We might be busy. We may need to work till 11 or 12 or even 1 a.m. every night, or we might have a late night job. I have, students who are air hostesses or they work in hotel industry and they're like late night shifts. Can Ayurveda work for me? Yes. And then, you can apply some lifestyle things to at least compensate for the losses that we're having.
Thank you.
Because we all can't live in a bubble. We can't just say, I'm going to bed at 10. Not every day. We can't do that.
Yeah, you have to. It's we were talking off air before we were talking about how we save or change the world, is that it's an inside job as much as an outside, but you have to do the two-step dance.
Yeah. I like that two-step dance. And I think what Ayurveda Lifestyle did for me and does for others is it gives us an awareness that I have a choice. Mm-hmm. And I'm not just a victim, or I'm not just a passive participant in what's happening to my life or in my life. And that I get to say when I'm eating, when I'm drinking, what am I eating? And there's a lot of empowerment that happens. We talked about empowerment, and it really brings like a sense of like I can make a difference to my own life. Mm-hmm. And I've had like mothers or wives with husbands and families, one person starts doing it and I tell them, don't lecture others, just lead your own flow and let your buoyancy and your health become an advocate for Ayurveda lifestyle wisdom. And we never have to lecture people, they'll somehow see us and they'll say, what are you doing that makes you radiate or be happy? I want to do it too.
Woohoo! From there, before we start to ask a few wrap-up questions and any tantalizing last questions I get excited to ask, but since you are a teacher who teaches about self-realization or self-actualization, any words of wisdom that you would give us, particularly today for, I guess helping us down this path?
Yeah. I think the only wisdom that I have that I can share, I can just share that a connection with our innermost self that is beyond the changing self that the mind conjures moment to moment, situation to situation, relation to relationship. And taking some time studying with a teacher or finding a meditation path to somehow connect with a deeper source within us, a presence, is, I think, critical more so now than ever. I don't know what political or historical or situational contingency made the great sages of India discover Ayurveda or yoga or tantra or meditation or Shakti or goddess or all of those divine, portals of growth. But probably they were just all communing with nature and the universal mother and father at the same time. But we now, as beneficiaries of that knowledge, should recognize, as you said, it's a two-step dance. And it's so important now to hold on to something still and confident within ourselves in times of flux and political crises, or even the new diseases that are cropping up, and then the environment that is getting disturbed. And as a result, and also the immunological diseases that are coming as a result of this environmental disruption. So I tend to keep going back within myself. And now it's not even about meditation. I feel like I lead my whole life from there.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think that's what I teach my students. And then I teach them these ancient texts, which then, in a beautiful, poetic way, keep reminding them of the same thing on a regular basis. But I have seen students who are mothers or who are corporate employees and really senior, directors, filmmakers. I have a votary of students with all kinds of skills and portfolios, but they are never that alone. Now they are the self plus that, the self plus that. So I really like it, And I always joke about it because I'm a married woman. I have a son who's 22-year-old.
Mm-hmm.
And I told my students once, I said, well, in my marriage, I think I'm a 1099. I mean, I'm on willful contract, and I'm there, I'm not there. Everything is based on my new engagement. So my husband was smiling, and so they all tease us about it. But I always say that in my every relationship now, I have power to renegotiate what I want. And this probably begins with trying to lead a lifestyle that really honors my spirit. Like, I'm divine and I'm an inner being that's full of light, and this is the life I want. So I guess it really begins with self-love, self-recognition, self-worth, and then connecting to the divine and seeing the same everywhere, as I see in your eyes today. So then you just feel kind of like humbled and supported, and that story of being a victim only goes
Mm-hmm.
away, and you realize there's a problem or an issue or a health challenge or a political situation, but then we can come to it fortified rather than depleted. That won't work.
Thank you. How do we, on that note, a lot of people listening, and particularly if there's a connection, but I don't want to make a direct connection. I don't want to place any blame. There is no blame. There's no even such thing as blame. But oftentimes if we're going down this health road, we do have, particularly in the West, self-love challenges. How do we start to crank up that inner flame?
I have found that the easiest way to crank up the self-love flame, I like how you put it, is to spend time with Mother Nature.
Woohoo!
It's so simple. Just go and take a chair, and if you live in an apartment and if you have nothing else, you have a pot of plant, look at it. When you take a walk, look at the grass people, the different beings in grass suits. If you look at the sky, and see the perfection and beauty of it. See the lack of judgment in everything. Some part of the plant is dying. Some part of the plant is vivid red. Some part is crowning glory. They all live together, a broken tree, a growing tree, an old tree. As you spend time in nature, some of you will get restored anyway. Some parts of you will get restored. When I had gone through a dark period in my life, I remembered that teaching of my guru, because that time I was not ready for words or books or, even intellectual thinking. So I was just quiet and numb, but I was numb in great noble company of nature. And I was very fortunate to have a backyard that was overgrown with trees and climbers. And I saw that, and it restored me. And I spent a lot of quiet time there. Self-love is beyond words and ideas, and gift yourself nature. And even these practices, such as putting, rose petals in your bathtub, or smelling jasmine flowers first thing in the morning, all of these things also, as you give yourself self-love, it gets evoked from within, and then it blesses you like a goddess. That's how I teach it. It's so simple.
I can't resist. Woohoo! I'm like self-conscious of my woohoo now since we had the woohoo discussion.
I love them. And I think I have a class coming up at my school. So we're going to start in your memory with woohoo.
Thank
Love
you.
it.
What Jessica has us do, she's my wife, she's the producer of this, she's my everything. And what we do before we do our interviews together and before we do our classes is we make sure she goes, drop and give me 10 woohoos. And
Aha.
by the time you get to fourth or fifth woohoo in a row, you're giggling and laughing and you just can't even squash it from within. It's just effervescent coming out of you.
Yeah, I can imagine because we have a term in my school called Jai Ma, which means hail the divine feminine, and we say it so loudly, and and sometimes I will, when I feel like they're getting dull, I will say Jai Ma, and then they'll say Jai Ma. So I know what that means. It just gets you out of your story and your self-consciousness and your bottled up energy. Exactly. I'm with you on this.
Thank you. Thank you. From there, just a few quick wrap-up questions, then a
Mm-hmm.
brief meditation. First off, what would you recommend for parents to teach or help guide their kids today?
Help if you're able to, then do look up the Ayurveda clock in my book and try to make them have a disciplined life. There was too much focus on it, almost punitive to have a disciplined life, and then we became bohemian with it, and we wanted to go to bed when we wanted to wake up when we wanted to. But I would say that leading a life in synchronicity with the rise of the sun and the sunset, sunrise and sunset, and the moonrise and the moonset is just a great teaching for them, and also helping them view the sun and the earth as the wind, not only as cosmic housekeepers but also inner housekeepers, because Vata is wind, Pitta is sun, and Kapha is moon, and making them see this inherent connection is really great. And then in my book, there are these tremendously very simple recipes of teas and, oils and face packs that they can smell and touch and put together. And that will make them understand that nature is not just there for cosmetic reasons or to look pretty in a prune landscape, but it's really a healer. And everywhere there are medicines, and that spending quality time with it in itself is the biggest medicine of all, because Baba said that nature is, really the keeper of all secrets and the teacher of all knowledge.
Woohoo! What question we like to ask all our guests just before the end is, what personally brings you the greatest happiness, or what I call the woohoo factor?
When I can see hope in another, a person who comes to me and who has been suffering due to the stories their mind is telling them, or because their body has reached a place where they are very uncomfortable with it. Mm-hmm. And when I'm able to help them with just a little bit of knowledge, just like Baba did, it gives me maximum happiness, because if I had my way, Michael, I would remove everybody's suffering. And I realized that I don't know how to do that. I can't connect with everybody. So I do what I can, one person at a time, one book at a time, one word at a time. But I come from great, sincere honesty. And the good thing is that God has been very kind, and I am able to infuse hope and bring about transformation. That gives me maximum happiness. Awesome. I want the world to be disease-free, really, truly.
Woohoo! On that note, where can people go to find out more and to find your beautiful book, Ayurveda Lifestyle Wisdom?
Well, they can go to my website, which is my name, acharyashunya.com. And if they come to your podcast, they'll see it spelled out. Mm-hmm. So they can, go there to study with me also. There is information there. And regarding the book, well, it's going to be available. It is already available everywhere on every major bookseller. So just, go to your favorite bookseller and look for Acharya Shunya or look for Ayurveda Lifestyle Wisdom, and you shall find me. And I'll be waiting for you through the pages of that book.
Beautiful. I can't thank you enough for writing it. I love it. I'm going to dive more into it. It's going to be
Thank you.
kind of like a Bible kept by the bed so that we can keep referring back to it.
That was my purpose. That's why I took like a year and a half to write it, and I spent all my time on it, and I didn't want to rush it. And I really because I don't see any go-to Bible on lifestyle around, and I wanted people to have this. They don't have to read all of it. They can just go to any chapter or any section that they need, and it will be right there for them to benefit from.
Beautiful. Thank you. Before we do a brief meditation, any last words of wisdom you want to share with people?
Well, I can just say that I really enjoyed being with you. And my last piece of wisdom is that health is your birthright. And join me on this journey in how the ancient seers lived remarkably long years and long lives, but healthy lives, not just life. They had a life, but they were just old and weary and tired. So look younger than you are, feel healthy, have great blood work, say sorry, bye-bye to diseases, and find your spiritual self. You'll be happy you did that.
And that's a giant. Woohoo!
Woohoo!
Yours is beautiful as well. So do you have a brief meditation you wouldn't mind sharing with us?
Yeah, I was thinking because in the book itself, I have shared a meditation taught to me by Baba, my guru, and I would love to share that. I would do this meditation pretty much anywhere, atop a tree, in the garden. There's not much formality to it. And to begin this meditation, simply ensure that you are sitting comfortably either on a cushion or a chair. You may close your eyes or if you're distracted, but gently closing your eyes or just focusing your gaze on some beautiful object of attention is also fine.
As long as you're not driving.
As long as you are not driving and I would prefer that you're alone or in solitude or you're in a place where people won't distract you. And then take a few moments to relax your body and mind, and you do that by auto-suggesting. So just tell your body that I'm relaxing, let's relax. Rest your hands very loosely in your lap and or place them very gently on top of each other with the palms facing upwards. Now breathe normally and allow yourself to relax. You will know that you are relaxed when you begin to lose awareness of your body. Your body will not be rigid anymore. Your muscles will begin to loosen. Everything will begin to feel soft. Meditation is awakening to the truth of your spiritual nature. By meditating, you are making an appointment to meet your own spirit self. Remember this now. Now you're opening a door to the center of your being. Deep inside your being dwells a silent presence, your true self. Acknowledge this presence as your divine self. Breathe in, I am. I am stillness. I am peace. I am tranquility. I am limitless existence. That is my true nature. I am infinite knowledge. I am unbounded bliss. My true nature. That is right. You have set your personality aside, and now you're dwelling in your own divine awareness. Now quietly witness your body from within. Experience this body from within. This body you witness, therefore this body you are not. You are the witness alone. Now witness your thinking thoughts and mind. Become aware of the mind that is trying to grasp words, concepts at all times. This mind and its contents I witness. Therefore this mind I am not. I am the witness alone. Now witness your breath. Experience how your breath heaves your chest up and down, how it flows through your nostrils. This breath I witness. Therefore this breath I am not. I am the witness alone. I am pure bliss, pure awareness, pure stillness. In this meditation, you are recognizing, though you have body, though you have breath, though you have a mind, you are their witness alone. Because what you witness, which is the object, you are not that, because you are the subject alone. I, the witness, the self, that alone I am. You are that pure, splendid, eternally healthy self, present within you at all times, in spite of any disturbances or challenges. You are pure health and well-being. You are accessing this self through still meditation. And immediately, right now, you are connecting with that self. This living, ignited experience through meditation will lead to personal transformation in time to come.
So thank you, thank you, thank you. We support you, we support you. Everyone, get Ayurveda Lifestyle Wisdom. It really, I'm sure this book will change your life. But crank it back up for the finish here. For everyone out there, this is Michael Sandler saying, be well, have fun, get Ayurveda Lifestyle Wisdom, and get healthy beginning today, and shine bright. Woohoo! Thank you so much.
Really, I have been on different podcasts, but I have enjoyed myself maximally with you. I'd like to stay your friend, Michael.
I would love and be honored. I would love and be honored.
And I'd like you to visit my school if you're ever in the Berkeley area and come and give a talk about your experiences, you and your wife. Because there are many radio hosts and podcasters, but there are very few people who are really connected and and are really coming from a place of service and heart, which you are. So I was very touched. I had tears once or twice while talking to you. So it's that Shakti, yeah. So I felt like I found a soul brother. So God bless you. Yeah.
Thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed it, be sure to like below. Also, leave your comments. Have some real fun with it. Subscribe to our channel where you're going to get more great videos, more interviews coming up. And check out our website, inspirenationshow.com. That's where you'll find tips, blogs, information, videos you won't find anywhere else, and useful and helpful resources really help you kickstart your life and to shine bright. Thanks so much again. Thank you for your support. Like, comment, subscribe. See the website. Thanks so much and have fun. Of course, shine bright. Woohoo!